Hello and welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I got to sit down with Max Mileski, the creator and frontman of the band Sadkin. Without any further ado, here's the interview. I've been listening to your music quite a lot this last week, and I really enjoy it, but you personally as a musician, do you have like a very early musical memory that you can just recall, that maybe like the first song that you heard or the first time you remember kind of falling in love with music?
Yeah, some of my earliest memories were listening to music with my dad. He was a country western drummer. So my earliest memories of music would be like country music from the late 70s. So I would think like Crystal Gale or Alabama or whatever was happening, Waylon Jennings at that time. So he was really into that. Those were my earliest memories.
Sweet. And those guys are very strong songwriters too, so I imagine that kind of influenced you also.
I think so. I love it. Yeah. I love Linda Ronstadt's Blue Bayou quite a bit. That was well before my time, but it had that the certain 70s almost middle of the road sound to it, with this chorus on flanger on the guitar and on the Wurlitzer that I just loved. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. So as far as kind of your musical taste and whatnot, just you personally getting into music, do you have like something that was the biggest catalyst to try to get you in there? Was like, listening to a specific song, I'm like, oh, I want to do that? Or did you start playing music when you were young? I'm like, oh, wow, this is something I want to do. How exactly did you fall into this becoming a career?
Sure. I think that I had as every young person does, they have a reaction to their parents that is sometimes a counter to. And for me, it was, just kind of discovering all the bands on MTV at that time and identifying closely with what I was seeing with new wave and new romantic bands like Duran Duran. David Bowie had become part of that. I had no idea what he had done in the 70s, but he had come out with Let's Dance and Blue Jean, and it seemed very, very much a part of that whole scene that was happening with some of the younger bands coming up in the early 80s. So I was having, I think, that first moment of reacting to my dad and his music and that country music, and reacting to it with wanting to just dive right into this new world of melding synthesizers with this production, this very specific production and sound.
For sure, man. And I can hear a lot of those kind of specifically the 80s influences inside of your music, and like just the style and everything you wear, but you really bring it into kind of like the modern time and kind of make it something new and exciting too. So as far as the guys that you play live with, how exactly did you meet up with those guys, and how exactly did you guys form the Sadkin as a group?
Sure. So Corey is probably the most sought after drummer in Duluth. He plays with a lot of folks around town, and he had started recording some of his songs here with me, and our friendship kind of grew, and our working relationship grew, and he became supportive of what I was doing musically, and agreed to jump in and start playing drums. I was also playing in other bands before Sadkin started, and another one was a group called Red Mountain. And Anton is the singer and keyboardist in that band. And when I told him that I'd finally decided that I wanted to try to take Sadkin out into the world as a live entity, what did he say? I want in. And I was kind of stunned in the best possible way. And then I had an old friend that I'd played in several projects with in the past that lived in Minneapolis. I live in Duluth, Minnesota now. And he was going to step in and play guitar for Sadkin at that time, but his father His father got ill right before our first show, and he was unable to do it. So within a month, I reached out to a local guitar player who I thought kind of had some of the same sensibilities based on some of the other bands I'd seen him play in. And his name is Nicholas Hansen, and he stepped right in, worked very hard. He crushed it for a month, learned the entire set, and he's been the Sadkin guitarist ever since. So Nicholas, Anton, Corey, and then Daniel, the bass player. The bass player came in more recently. He's a jazz student at the university here in town, and he was just a natural fit. I would think that I have most command on the bass guitar, and so it's always been an important part to the songs in terms of composition and tonality. All of those things have been a little bit more heightened with the bass guitar. So to have somebody who's such a student of the instrument, really a virtuoso, who can come in and actually play things that I just cannot. I do not have the speed and the dexterity to do what he can do. So to bring in a bass player that can just take these bass lines and then heighten them up even further has been excellent. So that's the band.
That's really awesome, man. So we talked a little bit about musical artists that you kind of grew up listening to, and a few other ones that you kind of got into right in the beginning of your musical career. But as far as Sadkin, what bands do you really think influence the sound that you try to make when you're making Sadkin? Can you think of anything specific, or do you not try to get into the influence thing? You just want to make something that comes out of your head?
I mean, it's easy to point to. My trajectory had been my first moment of sort of taking on my own identity with music and wanting to pick up the bass guitar at 10 years old were new wave bands. So those were very formative at that time. And that included Prince as well, especially being from Minneapolis. And so all those bands from that time period really imparted a lot to how I think about arrangement, how I think about layering instruments, and so on. And then I spent a lot of time as I grew up kind of trying to push in different directions and try different things, and it never quite felt like I was wearing my shoes. And I came to a point after a little break with music that I came back to it, and I just thought, I'm not going to try to be current in terms of what I think other people are doing that is bringing them success and attention. I just need to do what I do. And the music that ended up coming out was this music that really reminded me of the music I was listening to when I was 10.
So as far as kind of like the way you go about writing a song, I guess that probably differs from song to song, but like, do you have a method of the way you do that? I like to start with the lyrics and then write the music, or the music and then the lyrics? I don't know. How's that work in your head?
The song, as far as I'm concerned, the song informs the melody and the lyrics, and I have to be patient with it. I have this idea that the song is already written, and actually, I think all songs exist somewhere perfectly. Like, whatever that song is, somewhere on the other side, it's perfect. And as a songwriter, we're more like song archaeologists. We stumble upon some chord changes and piece them together and start developing it. It's almost like setting up an archaeological dig. And you carefully brush away, and you have to be diligent and patient. And sooner or later, more and more of the skeleton is revealed. And that includes the lyrical process. I try not to push it when it comes to melodies and lyrics. I wait for something to happen after I have developed chord sequences and song sections. And eventually something sticks. I'll bring my phone with me, plug it into my car, and as I'm driving off to work or wherever I'm heading, some gibberish happens. And if that gibberish sticks, I'll explore that. I'll keep with it. And sometimes that gibberish informs what the song is about. And that's sort of that's my process.
Let's talk a little bit about the single that you just came out with, Carrera, right?
Yes.
Yes. So you had a video for this too. First off, I'm a huge fan of the song. I've been listening to it quite a lot. The video is really awesome too. So before we kind of get into the video, I want to talk about the song a little bit. The writing of the song and everything. Can you tell me a little bit if you feel comfortable sharing it? What was that song kind of about? What were you thinking in your head when you're writing that?
It came from a place of feeling urgent, and I think that's a reflection both of wanting to get some personal songs and art out there in an immediate way. And I think that's in part a reaction to how I feel about the way some of the things are going outwardly in the world as I'm observing it. So I do feel a sense of urgency, and as I communicate and talk with other artists and people in the community, it's not uncommon. There seems to be this vibration of disenchantment, not exactly content at all. And that song that's the last song that I had for the record. And it became the first single off the record. And it just came from this place of unease and wanting to kind of get that off my chest and throw it out there. And it kind of is the song to me is a little bit of an adventure, and it's a search. The song to me is a sort of urgent search. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense, and I kind of got that. The video definitely reinforces that idea. As far as the video goes, you came up with the video idea for this too, right?
It was a collaboration with a local artist here in Duluth. His name is Daniel Benoit, and his media that he's really exploring right now is called video mapping and video projection, and he works a lot with theaters for plays and dance productions, and instead of a set, there will be a video projection that is the set, and that is sort of his calling card at this time. He is wickedly talented, and he's also fueled by ideas, talking about ideas, and being deliberate with how we approach sort of cultivating the end process. So he is a tremendous artist with a lot of vision and a heart.
Well, yeah. What was the shooting of that video kind of like? Did everybody kind of, did you allow them to kind of explore the space and everything? Did you kind of have very specific ideas? Like, I want you to move like this. I want you to do this kind of thing.
I didn't have any part of that. That was done by Daniel Benoit, who did the entire set and the staging of it. He directed it along with the filmographer Mason Lado. The two of them directed us. The dancers had worked through choreography, and they had come to the set with everything that they were going to do all planned out. And but the band took direction from Daniel and Mason. I let go of that process. I've never done a video before, so I was in the middle of recording this record. Just feeling a lot of weight on my shoulders. It was something where I was really looking forward to participating in this process where I could let somebody else just do it. And I just wanted to be a part of somebody else's interpretation of what the song could be visually, and just run with it.
Thank you so much for talking to me, by the way. I really do appreciate it. I've had a blast talking to you. Before we go, where can people find Sadkin at? What social media, website, anything like that?
Sure. That we've got material on Spotify under Sadkin. You can listen to a bunch of songs there. I did a previous record called Elan Vital, and that was a complete solo effort. The first thing I released under the Sadkin name. So all of those songs are on Spotify and Tidal, Amazon, all of those places. The new single is up on Spotify, Carrera. Also at the Sadkin website, which is sadkinsound.com. We're on Facebook under Sadkin Sound, Instagram, Twitter, all of the social media sites. and we're very excited about the new record and excited to get it finished and sent out to you.
Awesome. Can't wait to hear it. And before we go, I ask all of my guests this. As you can see right behind me, we have a bunch of movie posters and whatnot. And that's because we here at Studio 67, we do a movie show every single week. I actually host it. I co-host it, actually. It's called Big Bang Cinema. I'm a lover of film. I love music also, but I feel like these things kind of go hand in hand, and most people that love music also love film or are involved in film in some sort of way. And I was just curious, do you have a favorite movie?
I have favorite movies.
Okay, well, lay them on me, man. What you got?
Boy, let's see. I love almost every Tarantino movie quite a bit. I love the Coen Brothers movies. I also love this movie with this kind of uncelebrated movie with Harrison Ford and River Phoenix called The Mosquito Coast. I love Spielberg. The early Spielberg stuff I really love.
Thank you to Max for sitting down with us at Studio 67 and talking all about his music. If you guys want to see more interviews just like this, you can go to facebook.com/Studio67NCC, youtube.com/NashCom College, or you can find us on Instagram at Studio67NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson. Until next time, stay lovely.